Do you remember? I promised in the last episode of 2024 that in January 2025 I would bring you inspiring books about patriots, especially about those whom we read very little or not at all in our textbooks. As a Maharashtrian, for me, a discussion about patriots cannot begin without paying my respects to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Jai Shivrai. The book I bring you today is about a great warrior who was a contemporary of our beloved Shivaji Maharaj. If you go to Guwahati, you will see an installation in the middle of the Brahmaputra River depicting the Battle of Saraighat. It was there that I first heard the name Lachit Borphukan. At the same time, I found out that every year the best passing out cadet of the NDA or National Defence Academy in Pune is awarded the Lachit Borphukan Gold Medal. Since then, I have always wanted to read more about him. The Legend of Lachit Borphukan by Nilutpal Gohain tells the story of this great Ahom commander in a compact yet comprehensive manner. It's time to switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asavari, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. Shall we have a look at the details of today's book?
Facts and figures.
The Legend of Lachit Borphukan is historical fiction written by Nilutpal Gohain. It was first published in India by Loxley Hall Publishing in 2021. The book is 296 pages long. It's available in paperback and Kindle editions. You can find the link to buy the books on Amazon in the first pinned comment and in the description below. There is no audiobook available as of now. Now let's talk about the actual contents of the book. But as you know, no spoilers, no worry. Just
The cover story.
from the 13th century onwards, Assam was ruled by the Ahom kings. In the 16th century, in their quest for expansion of their territory, the Mughals began to repeatedly attack the Ahom Kingdom. During a prolonged period of 25 years of war, both sides suffered heavy losses. Finally, in 1639, when Swargadev Pratap Singha was the Ahom king, a treaty was finally enacted between the Ahom general Momai Tamuli Borbarua and the Mughal commander Allayar Khan, which fixed the boundaries between the two kingdoms. The Mughals accepted the independence of the Ahom king but got control over all western territories, including Guwahati. 20 years later, Assam was under the rule of Swargdev Jayadhwaj Singha. He decided to take advantage of the war of succession going on between the sons of Shah Jahan to take back the lost Ahom territory. He succeeded in extending it beyond Guwahati and Manas River. But when Aurangzeb came to power, he sent Mir Jumla and Diler Khan to attack Assam. In 1662, Mir Jumla easily regained the territories of Guwahati and Manas. But more than Mughal prowess, it was treachery and dissatisfaction within the Ahom army that was responsible for his success. In 1663, Swargdev Jayadhwaj was forced to concede defeat and had to leave the capital of Gadgaon and retreat to the Eastern Territory. In January 1663, a treaty was signed in which the king had to sign over his territories and pay compensation to the Mughals in gold, silver, and elephants. On 25th January, he was also forced to send his 6-year-old daughter, Princess Ramni Gabru, to become a part of the Mughal imperial harem. The ailing and heartbroken King Jayadhwaj Singha died a few months later. After his death, Swargdev Chakradhwaj Singha ascended the throne. But he was mortified and furious to be the first Ahom king to be coronated while under the subjugation of the Mughals and having to pay demeaning tributes to them every year. He vowed to recover his lost kingdom at the earliest. But his Rajmantri, Atan Bura Gohain, and the Council of Ministers advised him to be patient. The Ahoms were in no condition to face the Mughals at the time. Their coffers were empty, their arms and ammunition were severely depleted, and their army was completely demoralized. They needed to rebuild before they could regain. The last commander, Chengmun Borphukan, had himself turned traitor, leading to the defeat of the Ahoms. Swargdev Chakradhwaj Singha needed a new commander in chief who was not only brave and loyal but would inspire and lead his soldiers by example. There was only one man who came to his mind, his Dola Kasharia Barua, or his chief of border guards. In 1664, Lachit, the son of Mummai Tamuli Bor Barua, became Lachit Borphukan. What follows is an awe inspiring story of how, under the leadership of Lachit Borphukan, the Ahoms systematically rebuilt their military and navy strength and resoundingly defeated the Mughals in the Battle of Saraighat. The Mughals never ruled over Assam ever again. Let me tell you why every Indian must read this book.
Speaking my mind.
First of all, the life of a warrior like Lachit Borphukan is inspiring in itself. It doesn't need any embellishment, but it needs to be told. It's important to note here that the Ahoms had excellent documentation. Right from the time of the first king Sukapha, they maintained records of everything from births to deaths and all kinds of happenings, big and small, within the kingdom. Just like in Maharashtra, we have documentation in the form of bakhars. Assam has buranjis. But someone has to make all of this information accessible to a common person like me who can neither read nor understand the Ahom language or Assamese. The author Nilutpal Gohain has studied every possible source available and written a book that, in spite of being less than 300 pages, tells you everything about the Borphukan. Moreover, he puts the story into context by giving you an overview of the Ahom Kingdom, their system of administration, and the violent history of their conflict with the Mughals. It's also interesting that Gohain itself is an Ahom word, and ministerial positions had titles like Bor Gohain and Bura Gohain. In the section where the author explains the system of administration, I had an aha moment when I discovered the origins of many Assamese surnames, like the commander of 100 soldiers or pikes was a Saikia, of 1,000 pikes was a Hazarika, the royal physician was Bez Barua. We usually understand the origins of names in our region, but to get an insight into those of other regions is wonderful. Secondly, although there is a small amount of dramatization, it is obvious that the author has stayed honest to facts and only applied a bit of imagination and emotion to create interest and to carry the story forward. The coronation of Swargdev Chakradhwaj Singha is described in detail. I'm sure it must be outlined in the Buranjis, and reading about the rituals and the rationale behind them is fascinating. In one place, a Mughal commander challenges the king to a duel just to infuriate him. And the king flicks it off by saying something on the lines of, I cannot respond to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's not a challenge issued by a Chhatrapati. At that moment, I was reminded of numerous Marathi books which make this exact point and answer the question of why Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj performed the coronation ceremony. He had already created Swarajya and was ruling over his kingdom, but the coronation was to establish his authority in definitive terms. I was happy to find references to our beloved Shivaji Maharaj in this book. Just as Maharaj always had his eyes and ears open on the happenings outside his kingdom to take note of both potential friends and enemies, the Ahoms admired him for his establishment of Swarajya and fierce defense of his people and lands from the Mughals. A major part of the book explains how, over a period of 4-5 years, the Ahoms painstakingly and systematically built up their military and navy strength, how they shored up their defenses, how they prepared to go into war. Only when they felt confident of defending their territory did they start taking it back from the Mughals. They knew that once they broke the terms of the treaty, Aurangzeb would retaliate. And he did by sending a huge army under the command of Raja Ram Singh. Yes, the same Raja Ram Singh who was the son of Mirza Raje Jai Singh. The Ahoms were seriously outnumbered, but Lachit Borphukan employed guerrilla and psychological warfare to bring the Mughals to their knees. He created situations such that Mughals were forced to fight on water because the Ahom navy was much superior to the Mughals. He used the superstitious beliefs of the Mughals to cut down their morale. He played such mind games on them that I burst out laughing in places. The latter part of the book is a massively entertaining and hair raising account of Ahom valor. The final battle of Saraighat will give you goosebumps. You will understand why the gold medal for the best passing out cadet of NDA is dedicated to Lachit Borphukan. The quote I am going to read out is actually from the foreword by Ashok Pandit, which explains the need for this book and my reason for reading such books in the weeks leading up to our Republic Day.
Quote unquote.
Our traditional history textbooks haven't done justice to brave nationalists like Lachit Borphukan. Their stories are not only inspiring but also a reminder that while our great motherland endured immense torture in the hands of invaders, but her brave sons fought for her dignity, not bothering about their own life and safety. Which is why next week I will bring you another book on the same lines. Now it's time for the LINEDSCAPE rating of today's book.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
If you want to know more about my LINEDSCAPE book rating system, please check out the link up there to a video that explains it. Same link is in the description also. All the parameters for today's book are a solid 9 or 10, except two things. Characters are 8 because there are too many of them and it gets a little confusing. But you cannot really blame the author because it's history, not just fiction. I'm giving aesthetics a 7, which brings the total score to 91, which converts into 5 stars. Here's why aesthetics is 7, a bit of my fault. I bought the Kindle edition because I wanted to read the book right away, and that turned out to be a bad decision. The Kindle edition is poorly formatted, and there's some weird notation which inserts the title of the book, the name of the author, and some pages which are not page numbers as far as I could make out, randomly after every few paragraphs. It disrupts the flow of reading and is extremely irritating. Plus, because of the complicated characters and timelines, I would want to go back and refer to something which was very hard to do in the Kindle. My recommendation would be to buy the paperback of this book and avoid the Kindle edition. And now it's time to put my thoughts.
In a nutshell.
The Legend of Lachit Borphukan by Nilutpal Guhain is a well-researched, well-written and inspiring book about an extraordinary warrior. We live in much easier times now, and we are not in any mortal danger from invaders or marauders, but we should be grateful to the people who made it possible for us to have this beautiful life of freedom. Reading about them and remembering them is one way of respecting their contributions and keeping the flame of nationalism burning bright in our own hearts. Before I go, remember I upload a fresh episode every Friday. This entire month, we will be focusing on braveheart nationalists. If you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends and family. The more, the merrier. This is Asavri signing off for now, and until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.